So Season 15 of Overwatch 2 in February 2025 is where they added the new perk system if you haven't kept up with recent news or played the game. I played for like 27 hours recently, like 70-something games, so I have a pretty good early impression. How many games have I actually played? I played 73 games so far, which is a pretty decent sample size. And I guess people have been asking me for my thoughts on the perk system. So first, I guess, what do I think? I think perks are fun. I think it gives the game the shakeup that is severely needed for the PvP right now. And I think Overwatch is at a state where we need this kind of yearly cadence of shaking things up, right? This is an 8.5-year-old game, like turning 9 soon this May. Also, this beeping is annoying. Oh, it's telling me to pick perks. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the perks in a moment. Let's pick Fortune Teller and shuffling. Not every major Overwatch shakeup is going to be well received, but I think you have to stay novel because people get bored very easily, right? It's the big 2-5. It's 2025. So many games are kind of like fighting for your attention now, and as much as the, same old game can be comfortable, and a lot of people like to play the comfort game, I'm sure you guys all have your comfort game. Maybe Overwatch is your comfort game. For me, it's old school RuneScape. I think Overwatch and just games these days need to cast like a wider net and continually attract new people and focus on that rather than focusing too much on retention and retention of old players and keeping the old ones comfortable, because the comfortable and the old players will inevitably get salty. They'll eventually fall off. I mean, you see like how divided old Overwatch players up. They're in the comments of every Rivals video saying like, oh, Rivals is better than Overwatch. I'm a former Overwatch player for many years and I hate the game now. Like, you have to like actually inspire and bring new people into the game rather than bring old heads back. You will get some old heads back who are, not as like super jaded or whatever, but like you have to attract new players. And I think the perk system is a nice, refreshing way to kind of approach and play the game that I think like perks aren't new. And I think players who played other games will see the system in a game that flows and is optimized and plays like Overwatch will be like, this is kind of nice. Now I mentioned shakeups, like PvP shakeups. I'm trying to think of all the other shakeups the game used to have. I think the first one was probably hero limits, right? In 2016, 2017. I remember we used to have like the 5 Torbjorns, 5 Winstons, the Quinstons, or like the 2 Winston, 2 Tracer, 2 Lucio comp. But hero limits was like the first PvP shakeup. Maybe the second one was the whole roll queue thing in August 2019, like 3 years later. And then you had like another 2.5 years till Overwatch 2 came out with 5v5. Overwatch 2 didn't earn its name because it didn't really truly come out with the PvE, but this was like a huge PvP refresh. And then I guess the next one was last February, Season 9, where they made, all the projectile sizes bigger, all the HP pools went up. Like Kiriko's at 225, and now she used to be 200. I think a lot of other heroes are 250, even 300. Bastion's obscene at like 350, right? That used to not be part of the game back then. And I guess this year, perks in 2025. So perks as a major thing is great, but I really think Overwatch should be focusing on how they tweak the perks moving forward. I think with 168 perks in the game right now, I think my video on this channel said 172 perks because I included Freya in it, the new hero next season. 168 perks is a big system. And like we have Blizzard devs testing it internally. That's like a limited player pool. I don't know how many people, 30, 50, 100 people. Small, that's peanuts compared to throwing it out to like the millions of players out there to QA test for you and tell you, hey, these perks are weak, they're bad, they're unfun, et cetera, et cetera. So I think right now more than ever, we need people like, I guess me using my platform to tell you my feedback on it, and you guys to be honest and critical and be like, hey, this perk is unfun to play against, or it has this bug or that bug. Because I know they have like their stats and analytics in the back end to tell them what players are like picking, what has a high win rate, what has a high pick rate. But we all know you can't purely balance on just statistics and numbers, right? There's an intangible human element to it, and you can only get this by like seeing how players perceive it and how their feedback is and how they perceive what's fun and how they perceive the balance. I guess for me, what do I think? I think the execution so far, like the balance, is very lopsided. I'm a firm believer that it's like fine to have very niche perks that aren't picked very often, but are good for specific matchups. And it's fine to have like a generalist perk that seems to be the most popular one because it's just overall better for most situations. Like my feedback is I think the perks across the board, whether it's level 2 or level 3 for the minor and major, need to be closer to relative power level as best as possible. Like the disparity between heroes is quite interesting to say the least, and the disparity between perks is crazy. Like for example, I think, I think my camera's blocking it, but let's say, Bastion's one right now. Lindholm explosives is a major perk where it changes your weapon to the explosives. Situationally can be good, but like you lose your, this breaks barriers. So against Rhine and Sigma comps, okay, like keep this and pick the other one. But against stuff where you want a one shot, you want to take the other perk, the assault weapon to kill stuff. Or if you're getting jumped and, for some reason they're playing dive into a Bastion and you need to self heal because you're playing a very low healer comp, you can pick self repair. And like these are good because there are situations for both. But then there are some perks that are just obscenely better than the rest that it's like like a no contest. Even in the other situations where it's like the 100% perma pick, I don't think that's right. For example, it's Tracer's major perk. Flashback, recalling, restoring all your blink charges is obscene. Having 3 blinks, recalling and having 3 more blinks, having 6 blinks, maybe 7 or 8, because like by the time you finish all your blinks and recall, time has passed to naturally recharge. Having 8 blinks is infinitely better than just 50 overhealth on a recall. Like there's no contest. I can't even think of a situation where 50 overhealth on a recall seems to be the better choice, unless there's like a person memorize exactly where you're gonna recall and there's a Junkrat trap waiting with that buffed perk where he does like more damage on the mine or something. But like other than that, why would you ever take the other one? You know what I mean? So like the balance and the execution very off right now. That's like a specific example. Let me go back to the whole minor perks thing. I think minor perks, I like to compare them to like silver augments and TFT. And I use this comparison a lot probably because like I think TFT is a very analytical game by nature. Like each augment, I think in the back end that Riot has, TFT is Teamfight Tactics, by the way. It's a auto chess. I think in the back end, they have like an algorithm or like some mathematical equation to kind of estimate how much value each augment brings. And that's why you have certain augments that generate a certain amount of gold or generate a certain amount of heroes. There's ones that have higher potential, some more, some less, depending on the spot and position you're in. And I think Overwatch's next iteration of perks needs to be that, where we take a look at the scaling of all the perks and be like, okay, listen, like this is not even across the board as best as possible, right? Like obviously we're just throwing out whatever we have here, but like, you know, the Tracer example is a huge outlier where across the board this one is just better. But then you have like Genji, you know, Swift Strike dealing 25 additional damage over time when used after an elimination, but like the condition is you need to hit an elimination to even get that extra damage. It's like a snowballing one. Regenerate on 25 health on deflect. What if you're deflecting at full health, right? But then the Tracer one is like you just have all your cooldowns available instantly. And then Torb seemed pretty good too, like throwing a turret on certain map spots or just having a giga turret. So it needs to be leveled out. How Overwatch handles the perks the seasons after this and tweaks it will be the real test on its staying power as an overall system. And I think they did mention they will be changing perks, right? I'm not sure what their cadence is there. Was it every 6 months, every 12 months? The point is some just have like too much power creep where some just get like a little crumb. They should probably make all the minor perks be minor general tweaks to the overall flow of a hero's kit, or really narrow down on one ability, which some of them do. Some of them are like, you know, we'll buff this one specific ability. And I think the major perks should be a bit more like memorable. Kind of like if you're gonna have this Tracer have 3 extra blinks, the rest of them need crazy power. Like I think a good equivalent is like KarQ swift stepping twice every, you know, within 4 seconds. Like that is a good power level. Same with nano boost, like nanoing 2 people, like yourself and a person as a major perk. I think those are like equivalent in power level because like that kind of changes how you approach that hero and how you play against it significantly. But then you look at the other major perks like Genji's, not so much. But the minor perks need to be minor kit adjustments. Major ones can change the gameplay loop or gameplay flow of them significantly. And it isn't truly power creep, like in a case-by-case basis, if all of them have like a decent relative surge in power, then I think we can, you know, keep the perks fun and fresh while also maintaining some semblance of balance. I'm starting to go in circles right now, and I'm just reiterating the same point in different words, so I'll leave it there. The TLDR is that perks, for me, are fun, and I think everybody in the community, for the most part, is enjoying it. And the new system is refreshing, and we just need big PvP shakeup changes like this on a yearly, frequent basis, like yearly, but we need the balance pretty bad. Like I would also say they need to not be afraid to do things faster too. Right now we've had the game out for like a week right now with the perks. I think they need to not be afraid to look at very powerful or very weak outlier perks. Like the ones that are really good, like too good, 99, 100% pick rate and have like an obscene win rate might need to be like nerfed slightly, maybe in the mid-season or as early as the mid-season, maybe next season, and to like maybe completely remove and switch terrible perks that are picked like never, like 0.01% of the time and have like a 35% win rate. Like those just completely just get shafted. I'm sure they have a long laundry list of a bunch of different ideas, and these are the 4 they settled on for the 2 minors and 2 majors for each hero, but I'm sure each hero has like at least 10 to 20 in the back end just waiting to be cooked. Somebody asked me about Stadium, and I think that Stadium announcement is actually more of a needle mover for me personally. That's one of those like big yearly updates or big shakeups that the game needs, and I think that mode coming out with competitive and being completely different is like what the game needs 9 years later. Just something fun, and like maybe it can be a standalone, kind of like how Teamfight Tactics was like a standalone outside of League, or like COD Zombies exists as like a very fun separate mode outside of the main COD gameplay. You attract like brand new players to like this portion of your game. Like some people just log on just to play Zombies, and some people may just log on to play Stadium. So I'm really looking forward to that. But anyways, that's my, you know, random yap session. Let me know if you guys are enjoying the perk system in the comments, which perks you think are like obscenely too obscenely strong, and some that are just like a 0% pick. I'm curious to hear your opinion, because we don't have any data. Like we don't have any overbuff data or public API to see what's actually good or what's not. So we need your perception, your feedback. So yeah, let me know.